Hi everyone, so my name is Johnny and I'm here to show you how to make a basic lower thirds using Adobe Photoshop. So one of the first things that you want to do before starting, like the project in Photoshop is to think about like what is the resolution of the video that you need to make the lower thirds for. So is it going to be HD? Is it going to be SD, standard definition? Is it going to be 4K, 8K, etc., etc.? So that matters because if you're trying to stretch a lower resolution image or anything onto a bigger resolution, anything, it's just gonna look bad. So it's always good to figure out that part first. So I'm gonna make lower thirds for, let's say, a video that's gonna be only in high definition, so 1920 by 1080. So if you go to create new, you see here in Photoshop, it has a couple of different tabs. So if you click this film and video, you see a couple of different presets. So here we have HDTV, 1080p, so the width and the height is everything's good. If you're working with other resolution, you can always just manually input the width and the height, everything like that here. So with this lower thirds, I want the background to be transparent. So let's change that to transparent. All the other options, features, everything's good. So let's name this lower thirds in Photoshop and hit create. All right, great. So now we have this empty canvas and we have our safety guidelines here. So we want to make a lower thirds. I know I want to put an image. So that's one way that I'm going to show you guys how to do that. And then I'll put text and everything like that. So let's try that. So let's go to File. Let's go to Place Embedded. So I already downloaded some photos here and I already saved a template. So let's start from scratch. I want to use this one, this image here. So this image is kind of good. Let's see, is this the length that I want the lower thirds to be? Yeah, I think this is a pretty, good length. So I know for this image, it's too big. Like my lower thirds is not going to be this huge. So what I'm going to do is crop this image to the part that I want to use for the lower thirds. So if you see the guidelines here, I'm going to cut everything to fit in this little box here. So I just want to position the image to how I potentially want to crop it. So I think this is good. All right, great. So now you hit this check mark here. I'm going to place it down. So before we crop anything, we have to select our image. So if you press V or the move tool here and hit that, let's go to layer. Let's go to rasterize. Let's go to smart object. And doing that allows us to cut this image, edit this image, everything like that. If you didn't do this, you wouldn't be able to make any of those adjustments. All right, great. So let's use the selection tool. Let's crop out this bottom part here up to the guideline. I'm gonna hit delete. I'm gonna do the same thing up here. No, let's make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, hit delete. All right, great. So now we have the background of our lower thirds here. So now I want to put like some text here. So let's put in text. So I'm gonna put in my name. So let's make this a lower third for Johnny, space scientist. And let's see, I want to change this title, make it smaller than my name. All right, yeah, that looks good. So if you move this, you can see that Photoshop is helping you to align it. So this is great. So I want it to be centered horizontally. Let's choose here. Yeah, that looks good. All right, great. So this is the basics of creating a lower third. So if you want to change the color of the text, it's up here. You can change the different colors. Let's choose red. So you see how it didn't turn red. So that means you have to actually select all and select the color. And it'll change red, just like that. But I want it white because it stands out more in this background. All right, cool. I'm gonna hit the move tool. Let's recenter that. Okay, I think that's where it should be. All right, great. All right, awesome. So this looks great, but let's like spice it up a little bit more. Let's like add another image or just make the lower thirds look a little bit more professional, a little bit more nicer. So let's go and add another image. I think I have an image of the moon here. Let's use that. And we'll place. Great. And then we'll hit the check mark. And then make sure that this is selected. So make sure on the layer. Alright, it's selected. You go to layer, resize, turn into a smart object. Awesome. And then we'll use our magic tool here because I don't like this black background. I want to get rid of it. We'll select it, press delete. Alright, great, awesome. Now we'll just hit back to the selection tool and just click outside it. Go back to the move tool, click it so we can move it. So this is definitely way too big. I think I want to make it smaller. So let's go to edit. Let's go to free transform. And that will allow us to resize it. So we can just go to the corners here and just kind of drag it and kind of figure out like what's the size I'd like it to be. Yeah, I think this is good. All right, great. So now that we have that there, you can see like it's, overlapping the text. So if you go to our layers part down here, we can click and drag the text and put it on top, and that will make the text stand in front of it. Let's align the moon. So we click the layer of the moon and just kind of wiggle around, make it centered somehow so it looks nice. All right, cool. All right, yeah, maybe like right there is good. All right, great. So now that we have that there, I kind of like this, but I don't like this part that's jutting out. So we just have to use a selection tool and just kind of highlight that part and delete it. So you see it didn't delete is because I wasn't selecting any layer here. So let's make sure we select that. Let's hit delete and it's gone. Great. But it's hard to see the text there, so I'm going to move that. And let's go to the move tool. Alright, great. That actually looks kind of good right there. Alright, cool. So I'm pretty happy with that. So once you're, pretty happy with this, all you have to do is just save. And let's just call it the same title, but let's put space in it. So choose where you want to save it to. Make sure it's Photoshop and you have layer selected, because this way you can, come back to it and edit it. And for some systems, it requires you to use like a Photoshop file for your lower thirds. But for those that don't, if you're using like a video editor or something like that, let's go to export. We can also export it as an image. So export as, you want to make sure it's a PNG file, because if it's a JPEG file, your background will be white and not transparent. So make sure it's PNG, transparent. Your image size, your resolution is the same, all that stuff. Export. Let's do it here. Yep, that's good. Save. And we're good. So now that we have this here, we're using images to create our lower third. So how about if you just want to use like, shapes or something like that. So I'm just going to turn all this stuff off. Just going to hide it so we don't see it. I'm going to create a new layer here. And if we select these tools here, so you have this square, you can make a square. Basic. And some of the things that you can do to change this is the fill. The fill is the color on the inside. So if you want to choose like some random color, whatever it's, suited to your thing, let's choose red. If you want to change the border color, it's here for stroke. Hit this button and let's change it to like maybe like a purple or something. Okay, cool. And then if you want to change like the size of the line, it's just here. Right. Let's make it 10. And then, oh, okay, 10. And here is how you can change the line if you want to do like checkered or something like that. All right, cool. And then let's just move this here. All right. So I still kind of want this to be a space theme, so I'm gonna change this. Let's change the background color to like a purple or just kind of a blue. We'll change the border to, let's just have it black. All right, great. So now that we have that. All right, so now we have that, and we can like put our text in there. It's the same as before, so let's do Johnny. Let's change this font size to make it bigger. And there we go. Now you have like a basic like rectangle square, some funky colors, and you have your text there. So there's a lot of other things that you can do in Photoshop to make your lower thirds look better, like to how you envision it. But if there's stuff that aren't covered in this tutorial, feel free to reach out to us and we'll help you the best that we can. All right, guys. So thanks for watching this. Good luck making your lower thirds, and we'll see you in the next one.